during COVID. You just let it go, girl.
Yeah.
And this is something in between. You're a vice president of a major company, but also party a little too hard for the weekends in your job position. So you're a little cray, but responsible, and you could give her money and she'll have it. Oh, I haven't given you the money I owe you.
You haven't.
I owe you $100.
You haven't. It's okay. I know you're good for it.
Yeah. Just rolling in cabbage over here. All right, so James Harrison this hour. So let's just. I like doing this. I know everybody does like a top 10 list. I get it.
I have a feeling like you're really going to upset some people today.
I think, like always, I'm America's honesty broker. So here we go. My herd hierarchy.
Herd hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to Colin. Number 10.
I don't give a rip about your record. What are you today? The Steelers are the 10th best team in the NFL. Fewer than 20 points in 3 straight games. Held under 50 rushing yards. It's like high school in 5 of 7 games. Okay, this is a team that the only reason you make the list, you lead the NFL in takeaways, your defense can overwhelm a bad offensive line, and you have the most sacks. TJ Watt is unblockable. So you're a top 10 team, and you can create points with your defense. If you can't run the ball at all in December and January, you're not a Super Bowl team. You can be a good team. I can love your coach, but this is where you are. You're 10.
Number 9.
Tampa Bay. Could somebody tell me what their identity is? They had a bye week. I still can't figure it out. They're just a collection of good players. By the way, they got a Mike Tyson quality. They're great against bad fighters. They're 6-1 against teams that are 500 or worse. But I can't get past this. They're 2-4 against teams with winning records. So they're not a Super Bowl team either. Now, they have the number 1 rush defense and the number 6 scoring offense. But to me, they're just a collection of really good players, and they're going to get to the playoffs. And I think they'll probably win a playoff game. But like Pittsburgh this morning, what is their offensive identity? They don't have one.
Number 8.
The Cleveland Browns. You know what? Their back-end defense is too big of a liability to win a Super Bowl, and their point differential of -20 this year, the only team in the league with 9 or more wins with a negative point differential. But they run the football. I think you could argue they have the best offensive line in the game. Baker's interception last night was not a terrible interception. It was a great play by Baltimore. I think they're going to be fun for the next several years. If you have the best offensive line and best rushing game in the NFL, you're a playoff team. And they are absolutely a playoff team. But that defense on the back end spent a little less money on wide receivers and tight ends.
Number 7.
The Seahawks. Very interesting. Their next 3 games at Washington, tough, Rams, and at the 49ers. They could go 1-2 or 0-3. These are not all good matchups for them because they all have great defensive fronts. But they're allowing 12 points a game over the last 3 games, best in the NFL. Their defense has 24 sacks since week 9. And think about that. No other team has 19. So they have solved their big problem. They're taking the ball away, and they have a pass rush. If this team has more variables than anybody in the top 10, I think they could be as good as the 2nd best team in the league and be the 10th or 11th best team in the league. If they're healthy at running back, you don't want to face them in the playoffs. Seattle at 7.
Number 6.
But today, I think Baltimore, even with all their injuries, would beat them head-to-head. Great rushing offense. Lamar leads all quarterbacks with 793 rushing yards. Baltimore's all beat up last night in the secondary. Otherwise, if Lamar doesn't get cramps and they don't have secondary issues, this could have been kind of an ugly game. I think this team needs to get healthy. But this idea that we're still banging on Lamar, who's got a 95 quarterback rating, has won 75% of his games, and can do things in football games that no other human being on the planet can do, you can sell your stock. I wouldn't want to face the Ravens in the playoffs. I have them at 6.
Number 5.
I think I have the Rams low, but I worry about Goff's inconsistency. First of all, this team is 34-0 when they lead at half under Sean McVay, and they usually lead at half. He's a very creative guy. He comes out. They're hard to stop in the opening drive. They're the only team in the NFL that has outgained opponents by 1,000+ yards. Not even the Chiefs have done that. They've allowed the fewest big plays in the NFL. You got to march down the field on them. That secondary is the best, and it's young. They got the best corner in the NFL that matches up with all the star receivers. I do worry about Goff's propensity to turn it over. He gets into these tunnels of turnovers, and he can get them out of sorts very quickly.
Number 4.
Saints. I think they beat the Rams. I'm not sure. I think their defense, because it doesn't have a lot of stars, doesn't get talked about. They don't have an Aaron Donald. Boy, their defense is good. And listen, they're 8-0 without Breeze. Here's the thing, though. They need Breeze. The last 2 weeks, people have caught up to Taysom Hill. Okay, in the last 2 weeks, 21 points. With Breeze, 24 or more. And we knock on Breeze for not throwing the deep ball. So I do think with Taysom Hill, they're more athletic, but the league, there are limitations on what they can do. But the reason I put him here, 4, is because they're getting Breeze back, and I think this defense and coaching and situational football, they're as good at that stuff as anybody in the league.
Number 3.
The Packers. Listen, they're 10-1 against everybody else in the league and 0-2 against teams with winning records. That's got to freak you out if you're in Green Bay. Yes, Aaron's going to get my MVP. Yes, Devontae Adams is great. What I worry about, though, is I watched them in that second half against the Colts, and Aaron just sits and watches the football game because their run defense worries me. It was much better against Detroit this week, but I have them at number 3.
Number 2.
Kansas City. 5 straight wins by 1 possession. Red zone offense is now a problem. The Dolphins outscored them with 3 rookie offensive linemen, Devontae Parker out, and 4th-string running back outscored him 17-3 in the 4th quarter. By the way, they're at the Saints this weekend, and I can't figure out why they're favored by 4. They are not playing great football today. Kansas City at 2.
Number 1.
This morning, Buffalo is absolutely the best team in the NFL. They're a Hail Mary away from winning their last 7. The only team in the NFL, the only one, with 20 or more first downs every game. They've allowed fewer than 25 points in 3 straight games. Their defense leads the NFL by a mile in 4th quarter takeaways. So they're playing great situational football. Since week 9, they score more than the Chiefs. They have more touchdown to interception ratios better. Their point differential's better. Their turnover differential is better. And they've got fewer penalties in the last 3 weeks. This morning, Buffalo is the best football team in the NFL. I think this morning the Rams could beat the Saints, maybe. So I may have done the Rams low, but I didn't want to overreact to losing to Jalen Hurts. You'd never seen him. You were guessing defensively. You had a backup quarterback, and I'm like, come on. The Saints had no idea what Philadelphia was going to run. I'm going to give you a pass on that. All right. Now, I know. Andy Reid's probably throwing pencils and stuff. So the Buffalo-Kansas City thing is everybody will overreact. So let's just do a superficial dive to start. Last 3 weeks. That's current. Let's stay current on this. This herd hierarchy is about this week. Now, last 3 weeks, Buffalo has won by 10, 10, and 11. Kansas City's won by 3, 6, and 6. But that's superficial. Who are they playing? Let's dig deeper. Defense last 3 weeks. Buffalo is allowing 330 yards a game. Kansas City over 370. Buffalo's better there. Let's go to the details. Penalties. Last 3 weeks. Buffalo 20. Kansas City 23. We'll call that even. Last 3 weeks. This league is about red zone scoring opportunities. That's what the playoffs are, folks. Ain't about the 20s. It's about, do you settle for field goals or do you get touchdowns when you get your opportunities? Because Mahomes and Josh Allen are going to get you in the red zone. Last 3 weeks, Kansas City 1 red zone touchdown. Buffalo 6. That's why they're number 1. You're going to get to the playoffs. Mahomes is going to get you down the field. You're not going to get all these free Tyreek Hill over-the-top touchdowns in the playoffs. You're playing the best defenses, the best coordinators, the best coaches. You're going to get down and get a 1st and goal at the 9. Kansas City settling for field goals over the last 3 games. Buffalo scoring touchdowns. Today, they're a better team than Kansas City. There you go. Feel good about it. Feel confident. Not kidding. Flexing. Feel very good. James Harrison's around the corner. I think Steeler Nation's come to their senses and realize I'm an empathetic man and an honest one, and Pittsburgh's just not a great football team right now. James Harrison, the 2-time Super Bowl champ from Pittsburgh, will join